Have you ever wondered what happens when nations clash over resources in disputed territories? It's a question that might seem distant, perhaps even irrelevant to our everyday lives. But recently, this hypothetical scenario turned into a harsh reality for a group of Vietnamese fishermen in the South China Sea. Imagine a typical day at sea, your boat swaying gently with the rhythm of the waves. The sun is high and a cool breeze brings respite from the heat. Suddenly, this peaceful scene is shattered as you find yourself under attack. This isn't a pirate raid or a natural disaster, but a confrontation with another nation's law enforcement forces. This is what allegedly happened to Vietnamese fishermen near the Paracel Islands, a chain of islands and reefs in the South China Sea. This region, known for its rich marine resources, is claimed by China, Vietnam and Taiwan, and it's within these contested waters that the incident took place. The Vietnamese Foreign Ministry has accused Chinese law enforcers of not just attacking the fishermen, but also confiscating their equipment. They've demanded that China respect their sovereignty, investigate the incident, and refrain from further actions. On the other hand, Chinese authorities have a different narrative. They claim that the Vietnamese boats were fishing illegally and stated that their response was professional and restrained, denying any injuries. But the question remains, what is the truth? And why is it that a seemingly simple act of fishing can lead to such a tense standoff? This incident is not just about one attack on a fishing boat. It's a reflection of the broader geopolitical tensions in the South China Sea, a region that has been a point of contention for years. It's about sovereignty, resources, and international diplomacy. It's about the balance of power and the lengths to which nations will go to protect their interests. So, what led to this confrontation, and why should it matter to us? The answers to these questions might not be simple, but they are crucial in understanding the complex dynamics at play in this part of the world. The deeper we dive, the clearer the picture becomes. So stick around as we unravel this intriguing incident and its implications. Why is the South China Sea a hotbed of international disputes? Well, it's a fascinating story of geopolitics, resources, and territorial claims. The South China Sea is one of the most strategic waterways in the world, linking major economies and facilitating about a third of global maritime trade. It's also rich in resources, holding vast reserves of untapped oil and gas, not to mention its abundant fish stocks. So it's no wonder that nations are vying for control over these waters. The region is claimed by multiple nations, including China, Vietnam, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan. Each of these nations has its own reasons and historical claims, leading to a complex web of disputes. But today, our focus is on the Paracel Islands, a group of islands in the South China Sea claimed by China, Vietnam, and Taiwan. The Paracel Islands, despite their small size, carry significant weight in this geopolitical chess game. They're not just pieces of land in the middle of the sea, but strategic points of control. Holding these islands means having a stronger claim over the surrounding waters and their resources. China's claim over the Paracels is based on historical presence and use, while Vietnam points to its continuous administration since the 17th century. Taiwan, on the other hand, bases its claim on being the successor state of the Republic of China, which had control over the islands before the Chinese Civil War. The competing claims have led to increased tensions in the region, with nations deploying naval vessels, building military outposts, and even creating artificial islands to strengthen their claims. And it's within this context of escalating tensions that the recent incident involving the Vietnamese fishermen took place. So, now that we have a clearer picture of why the South China Sea, and specifically the Paracel Islands, are such disputed territories, it gives us a better understanding of why incidents like the recent clash between China and Vietnam occur. Now that we understand the background, let's delve into the recent incident in more detail. What exactly happened during the alleged attack on the Vietnamese fishermen? Let's dive in. Reports suggest that a Vietnamese fishing boat was in the contested South China Sea waters near the Paracel Islands when it was assaulted by Chinese forces. The Vietnamese Foreign Ministry accused Chinese law enforcers of not just attacking the fishermen, but also confiscating their equipment. But the story doesn't end here. The Vietnamese government claims that the Chinese response was far from professional and restrained. They allege that the Chinese forces beat the fishermen, causing injuries, and seized their catch. Now let's hear the other side of the story. Chinese authorities have a different take on the incident. They argue that the Vietnamese boats were fishing illegally and that their response was not only professional, but also restrained. The incident sparked immediate international attention. The United States expressed concern over the dangerous actions and called on China to refrain from destabilizing conduct in the region. A similar sentiment was echoed by the Philippines, which condemned the use of force and emphasized the need for self-restraint in the region. But here's where it gets complicated. The Paracel Islands, where this incident took place, are a point of contention. They are claimed by not just China and Vietnam, but also Taiwan. This isn't the first time tensions have flared in the area. The South China Sea has been a hotbed of disputes, with China's increasing assertiveness raising eyebrows. This incident comes on the heels of previous confrontations in the region, including those involving the Philippines in the Spratly Archipelago. China's actions in the South China Sea, including building artificial islands and harassing other countries' vessels, have raised concerns about escalating tensions in the region. So we are left with a murky incident, contrasting narratives, and a region on edge. With such contrasting narratives, what are the implications for the region and the world? We'll explore that in the next scene. How does this incident fit into the larger narrative of China's activities in the South China Sea, you might ask? Well, let's delve into that. China's assertiveness in the South China Sea has been steadily increasing over the years. The construction of artificial islands, for instance, is a clear demonstration of this heightened assertiveness. These man-made islands not only extend China's territorial claims, but also serve as strategic military outposts, effectively strengthening its hold in the region. Now let's consider the harassment of vessels from other countries. Not only does this create an atmosphere of tension and hostility, it also undermines the sovereignty of these nations. The incident with the Vietnamese fishermen is not an isolated event, but rather a part of a larger pattern. These actions have led to escalating tensions in the region, raising concerns about potential conflicts. But why the South China Sea, you might wonder? The South China Sea is a critical commercial gateway, a conduit for a third of the world's maritime shipping. It's also rich in resources like oil and fish. Control of these waters is not just about national pride, it's about economic advantage as well. Let's not forget the diplomatic implications. The US has expressed concern over these actions, calling on China to refrain from destabilizing conduct. The Philippines too has condemned the use of force, emphasizing the need for self-restraint in the region. These reactions point to the broader international implications of these incidents. So, considering all these factors, it's clear that this issue goes beyond a single confrontation at sea. It's a complex web of territorial disputes, economic interests, and geopolitical maneuverings. Could this incident be a sign of more conflicts to come? That's a question we should all be pondering. Where do we go from here, and what can be done to prevent future incidents? The road ahead is steeped in uncertainty, but there are several possible paths to consider. Diplomatic negotiations are one such route, a delicate dance of conversation and compromise where nations can work together to find mutual ground and prevent further confrontations. International arbitration may also be a viable solution, providing a neutral platform where disputes can be settled peacefully under the watchful eyes of the international community. Cooperative resource management is another potential way forward, where nations can share the bounty of the sea rather than fight over it. The role of international law and organizations cannot be overstated in resolving such disputes. Laws of the sea and international treaties provide a framework for peaceful coexistence and cooperation. Organizations like the United Nations can mediate discussions and ensure that all parties are heard. The road ahead may be fraught with challenges, but with diplomacy, cooperation, and respect for international law, a peaceful resolution is within reach. Only time will tell if these measures can ensure peace and cooperation in the South China Sea. We've taken a deep dive into a complex issue that affects nations and individuals alike. We've sailed the disputed waters of the South China Sea, witnessing firsthand the clash between Chinese forces and Vietnamese fishermen near the Paracel Islands. It's a story of sovereignty and survival, of power and peril. We've also examined the bigger picture, the rising tensions in the region, the international outcry, and the diplomatic challenges that lie ahead. The Paracel Islands, claimed by China, Vietnam, and Taiwan, have become a fulcrum of contention, with China's increasing assertiveness causing ripples that reach far beyond its shores. The road ahead is fraught with uncertainty, but one thing is clear: the need for self-restraint, dialogue, and respect for international law. These incidents remind us that the world is more interconnected than ever, and the actions of one nation can reverberate across the globe. This story is still unfolding, and we'll be here to bring you the latest updates. So subscribe for more amazing content and keep wondering about the world around you. Don't miss out on future explorations and discoveries. Hit subscribe and ring the bell to stay updated with our new content. Your journey of wonder continues with every video. Stay connected and engaged on social media. Continue the conversation, follow us. Thank you for being a part of the Have You Ever Wondered community. Keep wondering, keep discovering. Until next time.